Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today, as the title says, I actually want to talk about some Space Wolves and I want to talk about some Orks because we already know now because the list has, I won't say it's ruined it, but it's more or less revealed everything that's going to be coming this month and December. Some people are still a bit iffy on the list. Is it going to come true? I am completely sold on it. Everything that I was there at the start has more or less been confirmed for me. So yeah, everything else on that list is going to be happening. So I thought I would take the conversation beyond the list and talk about the potential of the Space Wolves and the Ork book for Phase 4 of the Psychic Awakening. Now, of course, this is not confirmed at all, but the chap who has been 100% correct on the Psychic Awakening so far said that the first book was going to be Dark Eldar versus Eldar, which was right. The second book was going to have Chaos and Templars in it, which was right. The third book was going to have Blood Angels versus Tyranids, which is 99.9% confirmed at this time. I don't see it being anything else. And the fourth book is, of course, going to be Orks versus Space Wolves. So the first question that pops into my mind is, where is this going to take place? We know that Fenris itself is located in the good section of the Imperium, and what I mean by the good section is that they are not to the north of the Great Rift where basically anything goes. It's like the Wild West there. The Astronomicon is weak over there, or more or less non-existent, so warp traveling basically means you're 50-50 chance of being invaded by a host of demons absolutely smashing you, or just losing your ship to the endless times of nothing. So yes, we are kind of in the safe area, the good area when it comes to the Imperium as of now. Now, on top of that, where are the Orks? What are they doing? And what is their mission? We know like the main mission of the Orks is basically just, they really are the definition of endless war. They just want to scrap. They want to go places. They want to loot it. They want to smash things, and onward and onward and onward they go until eventually they probably wipe out everyone and just start infighting with each other, and they'll probably just wipe each other out. That's probably like the end times of 40k or something if we ever get down there. But with the Space Wolves, obviously countering them and battling them. Some of the main questions attached to that is what kind of models is to be released with it. Now, I know a lot of people have spoken about a box set. Apparently, there was supposed to be the Templar versus Ork box set that was spoken about a few months ago. Now, I'm wondering, maybe that was lost in translation somewhere, and the box set was actually supposed to be a Space Wolves and Ork box set, just like we had for the Psychic Awakening Part 1, where we got the Eldar stuff, even though it was horribly priced. Yeah, and I know a lot of people didn't buy it for the price, and I don't blame you at all. It was absolutely horrible. Part 2, which is the Faith and Fury one, which is coming out, apparently the whole box set being launched with that is supposed to be the sister box set. That is what is folding into that release. Again, that's not confirmed at this time, but apparently that's what it's supposed to be. The third part of the Psychic Awakening is, of course, a new Mephisto model, which is going to be revealed at the end of this month, which is probably going to be a massive, massive thing for a lot of Blood Angel people. And, of course, when it comes to this release, what could it be? Now, I personally think they could do it a couple of ways. They could do like a big box set, like we got in Part 1, and they can do Orks versus the Space Wolves, maybe sling in a couple of new models in there, or maybe they can flip the table on its head and just go and give the Orks one big HQ character and the Space Wolves one big HQ character. We know the Space Wolves already kind of have like that upgrade set, where you can put the pauldrons on them and all that kind of stuff, and they are kind of getting a new box set around Christmas time, as alas are the Blood Angels and the Tyranids and stuff, not the Orks though. So maybe that is a kind of a factor into all this, because apparently the Space Wolf vs. Ork stuff is supposed to be coming out in January, so it's not really that far away. When you look at the release of the Psychic Awakening, which has been happening from GW, they're more or less putting out like what every 2 months, is it? Am I right to say that, or every month or something like that? So they are going through it at a really, really fast pace. Anyway, back to the actual characters themselves. What I would like added, or what I would like to appear during this little battle is, of course, let's start with the number one person, Ragnar. Ragnar needs a new model. I think everyone will agree on the Space Wolf side that Ragnar is one of the most well-liked Space Wolves. He's one of the most badass Space Wolves, but his model is old. I think it's the oldest model now. I think it outdates Dante's model, if I'm not mistaken. So really, he is kind of, well, let's say, is he the oldest model in the range, or is there some Phoenix Lords that maybe outdate him? Let's just say he's the oldest Space Marine model in the range, for argument's sake. So he definitely needs an upgrade. Again, he is a well-known character, a well-liked character. Would he go down the Primaris treatment, the way that GW has been going business-wise? It would really only make sense for them to approach it in that direction. I think if anything, if Mephiston does turn Primaris at the end of this month, and when we actually get to see his model reveal, then I can more or less 100% guarantee that every other big character that will get a new model will go down the Primaris route, because it's just everything's out the bag now, and it's just the way that GW are going to be doing their business strategy from there on. And let's not forget the Orks, of course. Now, there's only one model that has been swirling around my head, and it's been swirling around my head for a couple of years now, and I always mention this, and that is, of course, a new Gaskell model. Now, Gaskell model at the moment is not the best. Again, back in the day, it was the bee's knees. It was the model. It was the big Orky model. But when you compare it to some of, like, the Mortarians, the Gillimans, all these new fancy models that have been coming out, he really just doesn't match up in design-wise, in height-wise, in scale-wise. Gaz is supposed to be an absolute monster of an orc. This big, hedge, muscly thing, smashing things into the ground, pulverizing anything that he comes across, and his model doesn't really show that off. So I'm wondering that if this is the time for Gaskell to get a new model, because a lot of people, myself included, were really, really shocked when the Orks got their update and they got all these like jazzy, fancy vehicles and stuff like that Gaskell wasn't a part of that release. It was like, what the hell, Gaskell? He needs that update out of more than anything in the world. You can kind of argue that, since some of the vehicles did need updates and stuff. But I'm wondering, was this a strategy now from GW themselves, that they kind of, well, they knew that they were going to do the Psychic Awakening, of course, and the way to release a model like Gaz in his brand new format, whatever that may be, would of course come at the Psychic Awakening. That way that they get a book dedicated to themselves with hopefully new rules in, new stratagems, and all that kind of awesome stuff that you expect. And with that, they release a new Gaskell model to build up the hype as well for that book and the story, or whatever's going to be happening during this whole Space Wolf kind of event. Now, I've said this many times before, and I'll keep saying it. I know some people disagree with this, some people hate the idea, but I would love Gaskell to ascend to a Prime Orc status, because for me, when you come to Orcs and warlords or whatever and stuff like that, the beast is like, it's just another level of powerhouse. Now, I know people can make the argument of like, yeah, but there was Orcs during like the Great Crusade who took on Primarchs and stuff like that. Yep, I completely agree, there was, but it all ended the same way. They were killed. The only time I've ever seen an Orc take on a Primarch and actually, I say, come out of it alive, and you can argue, did he win or did he not win, is the Beast series, where a certain Primarch took on the Beast itself. And because the power around it and what it ascended to and what it evolved into was just a whole different level of spaghetti, and it was just amazing. And of course, with Gaskell where he is now, he's assembled like the greatest fleet that has ever been assembled, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it is the biggest fleet the Imperium's ever faced. I think I'm going to say it's the biggest fleet that's ever been assembled. It's the biggest Orc force that has united under a single leader, and this is going past the Beast, which nearly conquered the galaxy at one point. Again, you can make the argument that the Imperium was kind of not really concentrating on that kind of aspect. That's why they could sneak in and do all the things they did. But when you look at Gaskell now and you look at the force that he's gathered, then surely something will have to happen to his character to ascend him to that next level of commander, of physical being, of a psychic being as well. Now, this is what is getting my spider senses tingling, and I'm looking forward to is the story. I love Orks. I know I've stated this so many times that if I was to make a Xenos force, Orks are my boys. I like Space Wolves. They are definitely my top 5 when it comes to chapters. Space Wolves and Orks have had a bit of a history. In a perfect world, in my perfect world anyway, I would have preferred it to be the Black Templars fighting the Orks. I know I still got my Hell's Reach 5 still going around and stuff like that. But yeah, Orks and Space Wolves, I think it could be an absolutely awesome combination if it happens. It all depends on how they do it story-wise, and of course what models they release it with. I've said, you know, Gaskell, I've said Ragnar, but I'm sure there's people out there with other suggestions and stuff like that. Maybe people want, I don't know, like upgraded boys and stuff. I know, speaking to like my friend Gung, that's the last thing he wants is for the boy models to be upgraded, because he's got so many of them. And just painting boys, for those of you who don't know, like if you collect Orks and stuff, you have to have a lot of foot soldiers, let's say, and repainting a mass amount of those foot soldiers would send a lot of people absolutely insane. Now, as I just mentioned briefly a couple of minutes ago, of course, with these books, the main focus is the rule side of things. I know we get fancy new models and stuff, we get some fancy new lore, but most people out there are in it for the rules. And we know when it comes to chapters like the Blood Angels, the Space Wolves, the Dark Angels, the Grey Knights, and the Death Watch, they haven't really been given the new kind of foundation of love as the first founding chapters have, with all their supplements, all their codexes and stuff like that. So I'm wondering now if it's going to fall down to these kind of books to bring them into line with the rest of the Space Marine forces when it comes to, like, you know, doctrines and stuff like that. It's going to be very, very interesting to see this in the third book when it comes to the Blood Angels, to see if they get access to their own type of doctrines. Are they going to have the Devastator Doctrine? Are they going to have, like, you know, is it called the Tactical Doctrine? I don't really know. I only stay in the Devastator Doctrine. Why would you leave the Devastator Doctrine? It's the best doctrine in the world. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they approach that, how they bring those back into line with the rest of the Space Marine chapters at the moment. Or is this just kind of like a little demo version of some new rules, like a little bit of a taster, and then further down the road, maybe sometime next year or something like that, you'll see Codex supplement Blood Angels, you'll see Codex supplement Space Wolves and all that kind of stuff, Codex supplement Grey Knights, you know, Codex supplement Death Watch. Is that what GW is going to be doing? Alright, Chaperonios, that is me done for another video. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think that the Orks and the Space Wolves are going to be in Phase 4? Again, at the moment in time, it's just all rumour, but I'm just basing this entire video of how right this guy has been before, and I don't see him being wrong at all. He's been absolutely bang on with the money, and he, by the way, his name is Kissatu over on that French Warhammer forum. This guy called this out in I think it was like months and months ago. This is before the first Psychic Awakening book. So yeah, he's been absolutely bang on. Sorry, I didn't mention his name until then. But yeah, I'm with it. I'm sold on it. I think the Space Wolves and Orks stuff will be happening. But of course, that is just my opinion. If it did happen, what models would you like? Would you like a Ragnar? Would you like a Gaskell? Or would you like something else? Or do you just want rules? Are you not really bothered about the models, and you just want rules to be brought in that make them cool again? Right, I'm done. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all very, very soon. Have a great day, and bye-bye.